At 3 in the morning, when the world is quiet and the darkness feels like a heavy curtain, many women awaken, not from noise, but from something deeper, something stirring in the unseen corners of their hearts. They do not rise because of dreams. They rise because of burdens. There is something sacred about this hour. It is not just a number on the clock. It is a signal, a pulse, a quiet echo from the soul saying, look within. There is something you must not ignore. And if you are watching this, perhaps you too have opened your eyes at 3 a.m. and wondered why. Stay with me, for in the next few moments, I will not only show you why this hour chooses you, but why it is a mark of your inner power, your calling, and your undeniable importance in a world that rarely sees your full light. There is a reason 3 a.m. feels different. The world is hushed, the noise of responsibility silenced. At this hour, the soul speaks freely because it knows it will be heard. For many women, this is when the mind finally releases what it has been holding back all day. This hour is not weakness. It is the moment truth rises. A woman can walk through her day with a smile and still carry invisible weights. She is often the healer, the peacekeeper, the silent soldier. But pain, unspoken, does not disappear. It simply waits for silence to rise. At 3 a.m., those hidden sorrows, fears, and regrets knock on the door of her consciousness. But listen closely, this is not a curse. It is an opportunity. Waking up at 3 a.m. may feel like anxiety, but it is more than nerves. It is the soul's way of saying you must listen, you must change, you must heal. This hour is often a spiritual invitation, an urging to pray, to write, to cry, to remember who you are. You are not the first woman to rise in the dark. Mothers, daughters, warriors, and widows have all known the pain and power of this hour. They too have wrestled with doubt, and yet they overcame. Every 3 a.m. awakening connects you to a line of women who refuse to break, even when the night tried to bury them. At 3 a.m., the past whispers, the future knocks, and the present sits beside you like a silent friend. What if the reason you wake is because your destiny has a message? What if the peace you are searching for waits quietly for you to ask the right question in this quiet hour? My dear sisters, this hour is not a punishment, it is a sacred meeting. A woman who rises at 3 a.m. is not broken, she is becoming. Let the world sleep, but you rise, not just from your bed, but into a truth only you can carry. So the next time your eyes open before the sun, do not fear. You are not alone. You are being called to remember, to restore, and to rise. And if you listen, you may just find that 3 a.m. is the hour you finally meet yourself. There is something hauntingly powerful about the hour of 3 a.m. It is the time when the world lies still, when the noise of the day is faded into silence, and when the weight of unspoken thoughts begins to stir within. For many women, this is not just a passing moment on the clock. It is an hour that returns again and again, like a gentle knock on the door of their soul. It is not sleep that eludes them, but peace. In this hour, the heart begins to speak in a language that cannot be heard in the busyness of daytime life. It speaks in the form of unease, of racing thoughts, of memories uninvited, of worries wrapped in silence. The mind, which has carried the burdens of others all day, finally opens to reveal its own. The 3 a.m. hour is not about insomnia, it is about awakening. It is in this hour that the mind replays old conversations and reopens questions long buried under duty and distraction. It is here that women begin to confront the quiet truths about their relationships, their purpose, their identity. The world sees their strength, their calm, their ability to keep going. But at 3 a.m., the mask comes off, not out of weakness, but because the soul refuses to lie to itself any longer. The mind asks questions it was too busy to ask in the light. Am I truly happy? Why do I feel so empty when I have so much? When did I lose myself? These are not questions of despair. These are the questions of a woman on the edge of revelation. And it is this edge that makes 3 a.m. both terrifying and holy. What makes this hour restless is not the body, it is the spirit. It is the invisible tug between the life a woman lives and the life she secretly longs for. It is the awareness that something within her is shifting, growing, demanding to be seen. It is a moment of awakening, not in the physical sense, but in the deepest, most sacred sense of the word. This hour strips away the noise, the expectations, the obligations, and leaves only truth, the kind that cannot be ignored any longer. All day long, a woman may carry herself with grace. She may smile, laugh, answer questions, solve problems, and give comfort. She may lead a home, a business, or a family without ever showing signs of struggle. But when the world grows quiet and the distractions vanish, a different weight begins to press on her chest. It is not a physical burden, it is the invisible kind. The kind that lives in her heart, that hides in her memory, that whispers in her thoughts when no one is around. These are the burdens she cannot explain easily. These are the ones she carries alone, not because she wants to, but because the world has taught her to be strong, silent, and self-sufficient. These are the unspoken burdens that bring her eyes open at 3 a.m. No one sees the guilt she feels for not being enough. No one sees how hard she tries to be everything for everyone. She carries the fear of failure, the pain of being misunderstood, the disappointment of dreams postponed, the weight of choices made in silence. She remembers the words that hurt her years ago, the betrayal she never talks about, the pressure to always look like she has it all together. These are the things that don't go away with a nap or a meal. They linger beneath the surface of every smile, every act of service, every I'm fine she offers to the world. These burdens pile up one by one until the night cannot hold them any longer, and they wake her up. Heart racing, mind full, eyes open to the ceiling, wondering how long she must carry it all. She is not weak. In fact, the reason she wakes is because she is so strong. The strong are the ones who feel the full weight of the world but continue to move forward anyway. But even strength has limits. Even the strongest woman must pause. At 3 a.m., her soul forces that pause. It whispers, you cannot keep burying what needs to be healed. It is not just rest she needs, it is release, not just peace, but permission to let go, to cry, to breathe, to feel what she has been too busy or too afraid to face. When a woman wakes up at 3 a.m., it is often not because of a sound outside, but a stirring inside. There is a voice within her, not loud but insistent, calling her to attention. It does not use words, but she feels it. It is the uneasy feeling in her chest, the sudden awareness of her own heartbeat, the overwhelming swirl of thoughts that she cannot shut off. This is not merely anxiety or restlessness. It is a call from the soul, a deep divine pull that says there is something within you that must be heard. It is the part of her that has been silenced during the day, the part that dreams, that aches, that remembers who she really is. The soul does not care about convenience or comfort. It speaks when it knows the heart is most open. And for many women, that moment is in the early hours of the morning when no one is watching, when no one needs anything, when her spirit finally has space to speak. This call may come with memories, with questions, with tears she didn't know were still there. It may bring back moments from the past or shine a painful light on the present. But whatever it brings, it demands her attention. Because the soul does not wake her to torment her. It wakes her to transform her. It calls her to look deeper, to listen to what she has pushed aside for too long. It reminds her that she was made for more than survival, more than roles, more than routine. At 3 a.m., the soul often whispers the truth that has been buried under responsibility, that she is tired, that she is unfulfilled, that she is ready for change. And though the world may tell her to keep pushing forward, to keep pretending, the soul says no more. It tells her to rest, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. It tells her to pray, to write, to weep, to reach for the truth of her own voice again. This moment is not about sleeplessness. It is about awakening, not of the body, but of the spirit. And though it may be painful at first, it is also sacred, because what is waking her is not weakness, it is destiny rising up from within. Long before alarm clocks and glowing phones, women have been waking in the early hours, not by chance, but by calling. There is a quiet legacy woven into the fabric of womanhood, a history of rising before the light, not because they couldn't sleep, but because something greater was moving within them. A woman who wakes at 3 a.m. is not alone. She stands in the company of grandmothers who prayed through the night, of mothers who worried through storms, of daughters who dreamed while the world slept. She joins the silent strength of women who bore pain with dignity, who whispered their hopes to God in the darkness, and who chose not to break when life gave them every reason to fall apart. This hour has always belonged to the strong, not the loud, not the visible, but the quietly courageous. Strength is not always shown in action. Sometimes it is revealed in endurance, in the way a woman can carry sorrow in one hand and hope in the other, in the way she can wipe her own tears and still comfort others, in the way she rises before dawn, not because she is rested, but because life demands more of her than it does of most. The 3 a.m. hour remembers her. It returns like an old friend, not to punish her, but to prepare her, because the legacy she belongs to is not one of ease, it is one of overcoming. Generations of women before her have faced their own 3 a.m. trials, loss, betrayal, loneliness, uncertainty, and yet they endured. Not only did they survive, they grew wiser, kinder, stronger. So when a woman wakes in the night, she is not weak. She is answering a summons that echoes through time. She is being reminded of who she is and who she comes from. Her soul recognizes this hour as familiar ground, a battlefield, yes, but also a sanctuary, a place where she can let go of the role she plays for others and return to the truth of her own spirit. There is power in remembering that her strength was never born in daylight. It was shaped in silence, forged in fire, and passed down from women who rose in the dark and lit the way forward. There are moments in life when the body sleeps, but the mind does not. At 3 a.m., many women find themselves wide awake, not because of noise outside, but because of conversations left unfinished inside. These are not the kinds of talks held across tables or over phone lines. These are quiet, lingering echoes of what was never said, what was never heard, what was never resolved. A woman may go through her day with composure, fulfilling tasks, meeting expectations, smiling as though all is well, but when the night is deep and the distractions have vanished, the truth rises to the surface. Her thoughts drift to people she's lost, to opportunities she missed, to questions that still haunt her soul. She remembers the moment she held her breath instead of speaking her truth. She recalls the apology she never received, the closure that never came, and suddenly sleep becomes impossible. These unfinished conversations do not belong to the past alone. They reach into the present, shaping her feelings, her fears, and her relationships. They cause her to doubt, to second guess, to overthink the words she uses and the silence she keeps. At 3 a.m., the mind replays old arguments, misunderstood glances, words she regrets saying and those she regrets holding back. And in that darkness, her heart speaks, more honest and raw than it ever could in daylight. She wonders what might have been if she had chosen differently, if she had walked away sooner, if she had fought harder, or if she had simply loved herself more. These conversations are not curses, they are invitations. They ask her to examine not just what happened, but what still lives within her because of it. They call her to healing, to understanding, to peace. Sometimes they urge her to forgive someone who will never say sorry. Other times they beg her to forgive herself. In this hour, clarity often comes not in the form of answers, but in the realization that the questions matter, that her heart still speaks because it still cares, that her soul still returns to the same places because it is seeking something she has not yet named. Waking up at 3 a.m. is not madness. It is the hour of truth, when silence gives space for the soul to finish the conversations the world made her leave behind. When a woman finds herself awake at 3 a.m., staring into the darkness with her thoughts spinning and her heart wide open, she may think something is wrong. But what if that moment is not a problem, but a sacred invitation? What if that hour, wrapped in silence and stillness, is not the enemy, but the gateway? The world has taught women to fear sleeplessness, to see restlessness as failure, to view quiet hours as wasted time. But the soul knows better. The soul understands that 3 a.m. is holy ground. It is the moment where heaven leans closer, where truth stands taller, and where the noise of the world can no longer drown out the voice within. This invitation is not printed on paper or spoken aloud, but it is felt deeply, gently, unmistakably. It says, come, listen, reflect, breathe. In this hour, a woman is no longer performing, pleasing, proving. She is simply being. She can feel the things she pushed aside during the day. She can grieve without interruption. She can dream without limitation. The walls she built for protection lower in this sacred quiet, not to expose her weakness, but to reveal her strength. The thoughts that rise are not there to hurt her. They are there to heal her. The feelings she has buried are surfacing, not to break her, but to bless her. And the quiet is not empty. It is full of possibility, full of God's whisper, full of her own long-forgotten voice saying, this is who you are. This hour offers what the day cannot. It offers space. It offers stillness. It offers the gift of meeting herself without masks, without expectations. And in that meeting, she may finally recognize how much she's been carrying, how long she's been surviving, how deeply she longs to be whole. The world praises productivity, but the soul craves presence. And presence is exactly what 3 a.m. brings. It is not about being busy. It is about being brave enough to sit in silence and listen for what truly matters. A sacred invitation is never forced. It is simply offered. And for the woman who rises in the dark, not out of panic, but out of purpose, that invitation becomes a doorway to healing, to clarity, to transformation, a doorway to herself. So why do women wake up at 3 a.m.? It is not always because of stress or sleeplessness. It is because their soul is speaking. It is because there is something sacred waiting in the silence. It is because life, with all its pressure and performance, can never quiet the deeper questions that only rise when the world is asleep. These moments are not curses. They are callings. They are not signs of weakness, but evidence of strength. Every 3 a.m. awakening is a reminder that there is more within her, more to heal, more to release, more to become. The world may never understand it, but heaven does, and the soul does, and she does. Deep down, she knows. This hour is holy. This hour is hers. It is the hour where truth breathes, where courage whispers, and where transformation begins. So if you find yourself waking up in the stillness of night, don't be afraid. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are being called higher, drawn deeper, shaped quietly into the woman you were always meant to become. Answer the call, because what wakes you